Hey, family, welcome back to my channel. This is Life of Interruptions with me, Pearl Osa, and I'm sending you peace, love, happiness, joy from whatever part of the earth that you are in, whatever time zone, whatever language you speak. Love is the universal language. I have missed you guys. I am back and so grateful for your patience, for your support, for those of you who kept subscribing, even though I wasn't loading new videos, but just based on the old content that we were putting out there. So I thank you. Now, I have been working a lot on packaging who I am. And two things that I realized were very key and clear in this packaging and branding were that I am and have become by default an edutainer. Okay. So what do I mean by an edutainer? One who knows that their assignment is to educate, but knows that they cannot push education in your face in such a blatant way. And so we educate while we entertain through the various platforms that we have. So I am an edutainer, but I think more importantly than that, what am I educating about? I understand that I am what I now term a possibility broker. I am talking about, I am heralding, I am proclaiming, I am packaging, selling, offering the concept of possibility, that all things are possible and that you can do your everything. And I've been on this drive from the time that I started with the pageant. So I would like to give you some updates around what happened with the pageant, which will crystallize this whole thing about possibility. As you know, I'm a mom of 10. So during and when I went on for the pageant, when I felt the call and the leading to go on this pageant, the deal that I tried to strike with the Lord was to say, listen, I will do this, which is completely out of my character, but because I feel that you're calling me to do this and I want to be obedient, I'll obey, I'll go and do this. But you know what? Surely you can switch off this whole thing of pregnancy. So do not let me fall pregnant in this time frame, and then I'll do this freely. So we went for the casting. It was February the 28th, 2020, and we made it. And 3 days thereafter, it was the workshops. We finished with the workshops, came home and started pageant business. Like, it was time to now start finding sponsors and getting ready for semifinals, and then eventually for the finals. I then discovered at this time that I was pregnant. Apparently I had gone onto the pageant pregnant and had no idea. So I begin to think to myself, I'm like, you know what? I know that I've been called to go do this pageant thing, and I know that they consider it an impossible feat. You cannot go ahead if you're pregnant. Am I going to have to resign? What am I going to do? It was like, and I almost felt down. I didn't feel down. I thought to myself that I think the normal reaction I'm supposed to have is one of feeling a bit deprived and feeling sad that I could not go on with this, which I deemed was going to be a once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, I was one of the older girls there. I'm in my 40s. I'm not going to go back and do this again. I'm not going to be doing this in my 50s and what have you. Like, I'm not a pageant kind of girl. It's the first time I've done it. It's the last time I'll do it, I believe. So, under normal circumstances, it would have been understandable for me to think, there goes that shot and it's over. However, my paramount thought was, a pageant was 1 year. It's not my kind of thing, really, in any case. But here's a baby, here's a life, here's a future, here's a generation, here is a whole nation, right? And I get the privilege to hear my name called Mama the 11th time. Like, I won't give that up for anything. So I refuse to be sad. I refuse to think about how impossible it'll be. I just refuse any negativity. And behind my mind was also the thought that this baby could feel everything that I could feel. That if I was happy, he or she too would feel happy, and if I was sad, then so would be the same for the baby. And also that I wanted the child growing up from day one with that sense of I was never rejected, I was never an interjection, I was never an interruption, I was loved. I was accepted. My coming brought joy and brought great expectation. I was so conscious that the minute I saw the two lines on that stick, that this child in his or her consciousness should begin to know that that is a truth concerning him or her. Now, concerning the contractual obligations within South Africa, I know that I had seen somewhere on the contract something about pregnancy, but the spirit of the letter that I had read and understood, and maybe the Lord just blinded my eyes to the full, impact of or import of it. But what I saw was, it's not that we discriminate against pregnancy. It's just that we think it'll be physically impossible for you to be pregnant and be in the pageant. And so I thought to myself, physically impossible for who? Like, what does that word mean? Guys, I'm the possibility broker. I serve the one who says I can do all things, all my things. I can't do what he's called you to do, but I can do everything within my realm and scope of responsibility and possibility. So I can do my all through him who strengthens me. And so I was determined to demonstrate that. So I was determined that this was going to be, what it was going to be. I was going to show that all things are possible. That's not just a phrase in the scripture. It's a baby. It's not an impediment. It's not a paralysis or some kind of handicap. It's a child. It's not a sickness. And I understand that for many it comes with difficulties. And it's not to say that I don't have my share of difficulties. I get very bad pelvic pain, pelvic girdle disorder, whatever it's called. I mean, to the point sometimes that I can't walk, or there's the morning sickness that goes off. But all those things are a small fraction of the joy that one can get at the end of the process. So, and in any case, I really thought that the lockdown was going to cause anything in the entertainment space to be shut down and postponed. So I thought they'll postpone the pageant. I don't need to tell anyone my business. There will be no. Lo and behold, Mrs. South Africa calls for an August semi-finals thing before the semi-finals. Like, we were not expecting it. I thought to myself, by this time, guys, I'm 6 months pregnant. I'm lekker round. I'm fat. So I'm putting out pictures on social media, but you're only seeing this part and you don't know what's going on underneath. And now they want to do the judging. Okay, luckily it turns out the judging was done virtually. Phew. So we do the virtual judging, and I'm like this as I am, right? So even during my pregnancy, I watched what I was eating. I didn't diet because that was not responsible, but I didn't binge like I normally would. Like when I'm pregnant, I'm kind of like, ooh, doesn't, there's nice things, man. Don't need to think about period for 9 months. Don't need to think about what I'm eating and what I'm gaining. It comes with the territory, man. This time I was just like, no, I need to still, cut out the things that I don't need to eat. I didn't go heavy on carbs, and dairy had been cut out and sugar had been cut out. So there was all that managing so I managed to stay a little trim, but I still blossomed. Anyhow, we have the top 50 judging. I'm sitting like this in my dress, and the belly is hidden underneath, and I'm, holding things in. We're making a plan, guys. Anyhow, we made it to top 50. The baby came a month to the finals. So I went into the finals 4 weeks postpartum. I had a 1 month baby at home, and I went into the finals. Still slightly dark in the complexion because, that whole pregnancy melasma or whatever it's called, my pigmentation darkens all through. The nose is a little extra. The lips are full. There was a lot going on. But we went and I feel like God was just like, just make it through. So we made top 25. So we sit today, and we didn't make it right to the top. I was not crowned that queen, but I understand without a shadow of doubt that I was crowned a queen by the one who sent me into the pageant. I know without a shadow of doubt that in the place that it really counts, I have received a crown. And that I ran my race and I did things the way I ought to. And I think what was the most important for me was to know, looking back, that I didn't run that race in a way that if I had not won, I would be ashamed of the compromises that I had to make. I'm grateful for that. I'm really grateful for that. So we're where we are now, and I'm a mom of 11, And that child, I think, is my ultimate crown. I was crowned by that boy. So it's 10 boys and 1 girl. So what's the moral of the story? I did this in lockdown, in the midst of what was deemed impossible and just crazy. And like, a week and a bit ago, I had a meeting with the CEO of Mrs. South Africa, and just explained to her that I had this baby during lockdown. It didn't affect the pageant. It didn't affect my performance in the pageant. I was able to meet all my obligations. And so I decided I was not going to share at that time, because I think they just had enough going on. And I was a big girl about it. I could handle my business. Their concern was that it would be impossible, and I knew it wouldn't, and it wasn't. So I didn't feel like sharing then. I'm now sharing now. And I just wanted to, and also like I wanted to confirm what I felt about the contract when I eventually read the contract. Because believe me, till I got to the top 50, all of that time I hadn't looked at what the contract said concerning pregnancy. When I got to the top 50 and I received a new contract as a top 50 finalist, it was the first time I was now reading it, and it said the contestant will not fall pregnant during the pageant. But you know what? Things happen. And it did not go on to say resign if you do. I think that was like an obvious. No one needed to say anything about that. So it didn't say resign if you do. It just said we deemed that it would be physically impossible. So, and I guess it was just out of consideration and concern for a pregnant woman. Plus, how are you going to be pregnant in all the outfits and the stuff that you needed to wear? So I told her, and her response was so positive, so encouraging, and she saw exactly what I believe I was demonstrating in that time, whether knowingly or unknowingly, and that was that anything is possible. I was demonstrating possibility. I kept saying, people asked me, why did you join the pageant? And I kept saying, I'm here to show that you can do your everything and do it well, and that nothing is impossible to you. And this baby came as like the crown to that statement, so that it's not like something one says, just for saying, but that it's said with that sense that truly I've lived my truth. I can demonstrate it to you honestly. So yeah, now I'm really focused on going out there and just letting people know you can do whatever you set your hands to. Nothing shall be impossible to you, especially if it is within the realm of your calling, your assignment, your God-given gifts and passions. I was called to this, and so I was equipped and enabled to be able to do it. But guys, just in this time of COVID, and everything that has happened, and the jobs that were lost, and the lives that were lost, and the businesses and livelihoods, relationships, and just what we deem to be new normal and how things have changed, one message I know a lot of people just want to hear is that it's possible, that you can do it, you can start again. Dude, you can be pregnant in a beauty pageant and go quite far. I mean, so I was the oldest, and then with the one with the most children, so that in itself was already, could potentially be a deterrent or a distraction. And then add to that, pregnant and had the baby and went into this pageant 4 weeks after, swimming costume and all. And I keep saying to people when they want to say, oh, you're so incredible, it's not about me. It's a testament. I think God made my story so crazy, so that anyone else with a story that is not as crazy will not be able to think of an excuse and say no, why they can't do it, or you can do everything you set your mind to. So that's my crazy story for the year 2021. And in that time, we had 2 more children learn to read. In that time, my one boy started university, and that in itself is just a miracle, because he was 16. He is 16, started at 16. No varsity would take him in South Africa because he was not 18. The only online options he had wanted him to be 16, and he's been ready since he was 15. So he was bidding his time at the age of 15, just sitting past exams and what have you. And when he wanted to go do the Cambridge A-levels, Cambridge exams were stopped globally because of the pandemic. So he couldn't sit the exams, and so it cost some people an extra year. And he was just like, no, it's not costing me a year, because my faith is believing for going to varsity at 16. That's what I set my mind to do, and that's what I'm going to do. So we found a university. He had to be 16. Someone advised us and said, listen, do something online in the meantime. And we decided it wasn't going to be a diploma or whatever. He's going to do a degree in the meantime, which he's busy with now. And by the time he's done with that, he'll be the right age. He'll have his first degree and he'll be able to then move into the real qualification that he wanted. That again, story of possibility, the hand of God, and just the grace and the mercy of God. And so we're really grateful, really, really blessed. I'm really encouraged and just want to encourage you too. So I wrote a book. It's called My Journey to Beautiful. Sorry, the whole troop is just coming in now. I wrote a book on the story, My Journey to Beautiful, and it'll be available on pre-order. So I'm just going to need you to check me out on Instagram, Mrs. Pearl Osa on Instagram or on Facebook. Yeah, that was me as a baby. So it's a really interesting read, and it details what happened behind the scenes of having this baby. My Journey to Beautiful. But the most important part is that it then points you to internalize the lessons and figure out your story about your journey to beautiful. What is that beautiful place for you? Where is your destiny? What is your purpose? And how are you going to arrive at it? What are you going to believe is possible or impossible for you? Nothing is impossible. All you need to do is believe and be in your lane. Believe and be in your lane. Don't try and be your sister. Don't try and be your brother. Don't try and do anybody else's business. Do your business and do it per time, per season in your lane, and everything will be possible to you. At the end of the day, you will sit at the end of your life and realize you did everything you were supposed to do, and you did it when you were supposed to do it. It doesn't all have to be done at the same time. Life is not a race or a competition. You're only in competition against yourself. But the bottom line is that everything you've been called to do is possible, and you are endued and gifted with everything you need to make that possible. So this has been another catch up, another update on Life of Interruptions. And don't forget to like, to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we load something new. That season of the pageant and its business has come to an end. I should be a bit freer now and should be uploading content on a more regular basis. You don't want to miss out. But I wanted you guys to be the family that I let in on the secret of the 11th or so. We have a full-on soccer team now. And I love you much. Love you plenty. Count your blessings. See you soon.